Boys, because of my boy Volkanovski out here breaking all the curses in the world, the 35-year-old plus curse, the Drake curse, back-to-back knockout losses, and then still goes out and gives us one of his best title defenses, title fights in general of his entire career. I thought, why don't we go through every single champion, go through which title fight is their best and worst, and we're going to start off with Alexandre Pantoja. Now, Pantoja, yes, he doesn't have the most amount of title defenses, title fights in general. He does have one of them more, out of the entire roster, but for now, I think Pantoja's best, we'll start with the best title defense, and I am going to take into consideration, title fights, so how he won the belt. I'm going to consider those fights as well. So the best title defense, the best title fight he's had so far as a champion, in my opinion, was the Brandon Moreno fight. We go through all of his, you could even say the Royval one is better just because Royval did beat Brandon Moreno, but I think if Brandon Moreno and Royval fought 10 times, I think Moreno is winning 7-8 times out of 10, but I'm still picking Moreno. Plus Moreno was a champ at that time, and yeah, I'm gonna say Moreno was the best title defense that Pantoja has so far, split decision or not. It's crazy because yes, this was one of the more difficult fights that he's had, but like I said, I think skill for skill, legacy for legacy, Moreno is the best win on his resume for that title picture. Moving down, the worst one, a lot of people are gonna say Kai Sakura. I am debating going Steve Ercik. The question is, do I give Kai Sakura the benefit of the doubt and see if he can bounce back here? Because we have seen Steve Ercik recently go on a huge losing spree. I'm going to say Steve Ercik, honestly. Now, hear me out. Steve Ercik is the worst win in his entire champion career just because he made that fight so close. A lot of people think he lost that fight, and we have gone on to see Steve Ercik lose, was it 3 times now? I don't think he's won since this fight. And yeah, just a bad fight, bad legacy fight, bad fight in, how some wins age well? This one aged like pure milk. And yeah, I'm saying Steve Ercik is the worst one. Kai Sakura could go out here and get fraud checked time after time again, and he could be the worst one on this list. But for right now, these are the 2 guys I have here. Moving down, got the boy Merab. Now Merab has only fought twice, so this one's pretty easy. The worst fight on Merab's title picture is going to be O'Malley, and the best win is going to be Umar Nurmagomedov. Pretty straightforward. It's only because he has these 2 wins, and honestly, they could switch around here real soon depending on how Umar does, how O'Malley does. For all we know, Umar could go on a 2-fight losing streak, and O'Malley could, knock out Merab in their next fight, but we don't know. As of right now, I do think Merab is a better win than a Sean O'Malley, regardless of if Sean O'Malley was a defending champ or not. Let's get into the boy Volkanovski now, though. Volkanovski, what is the best win in Volkanovski's title career? Lots of people, recency bias, are going to say Diego Lopez, the fact that he's come back from 2 knockouts back-to-back, that he's 36 years old, the momentum is definitely on Lopez's side. I have a strong argument to say that, yeah, Lopez is the best win. However, I am stuck between either Max Holloway, the second fight, where it was a split decision, or Max Holloway, the third fight. I'm going to say the third fight just because, the only way the second fight could be the most impressive is if you fully believe that Volkanovski was woken up and all that stuff that truly affected his performance, which low-key I do agree that is what happened. That's what affected his performance. Getting woken up in the middle of the night, then taking the melatonin. We had that melatonin gate. But the fact that he could go in there in their trilogy and completely shut out Max Holloway for 5 rounds straight. Even right now, Ilia Topuria wasn't outclassing Max Holloway for 5 rounds straight. Yes, he is the only one to put out Max Holloway, but completely outclassing him, showing that there's levels to this. Volkanovski made Max Holloway look like, Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar at points. That's the kind of dominance that Volkanovski had in that trilogy. But that being said, he's had a decent amount of title fights. Which one was the worst one? And, I want to say Yair Rodriguez just because your boy isn't the biggest fan of Yair, but in all reality, it's going to be Korean Zombie. Unfortunately, yeah, it's going to be the Korean Zombie. And that's just simply because the Korean Zombie, we all knew, was way past his prime. This was, one of the last attempts for the Korean Zombie. After that, he had that retirement fight against Max Holloway where he got knocked out again. But yeah, I think by a mile, even if we go for maybe not legacy for legacy, but current fighter, where the Korean Zombie was currently compared to Volkanovski's other opponents, like Korean Zombie versus Ortega at the time, Ortega would have won. Every person that Volkanovski won would have beat that version of the Korean Zombie. And it is what it is. However, there is a strong argument to be said that right now Lopez is the best win, but I'm going the trilogy fight with Max Holloway. Let's keep moving down. Islam Makhachev. What is the best win for Islam Makhachev? I think it might be... The thing that sucks for Islam is there's so many caveats to his wins. Like, for example, Moicano, freaking 12-hour notice. What was it, 12 hours? 12-hour notice. Poirier, old man Poirier. Volkanovski, the second time, again, short notice. I think the best title defense that Makhachev has is either when he won the belt to Oliveira or to Volkanovski. I'm going to say, for, argument's sake, who had the most momentum at the time, it's probably going to be Volkanovski. I think Volkanovski is by far the first fight, the best win that Makhachev not only has on his title defenses, but his entire career as a whole. And he got pushed to his limits. I had it for Volk to win that fight. A lot of other people had Volk winning that fight. It was a very close fight. And again, it's in my opinion, it is by far the best win he has on his entire resume. In the prime, dominant Volkanovski. Now, what's the worst fight on his career right now? You could say it's either... Honestly, it's Moicano. I didn't want to come to the realization that it's unfortunately Money Moicano. Even old man Poirier is better at this point just because of the legacy and backstory and just the career in general he's had. Where Moicano hasn't quite had the same. Plus, it only took Makhachev one round to get him out of there pretty easily. So yeah, Moicano by a mile, the worst title defense on Makhachev's entire career. Let's keep moving down. Belal Muhammad. Very, very easy. Belal only has one title fight, so the best and worst is going to be Leon Edwards. Straight to the point. Let's keep moving down. Dricus Du Plessis. Now, this is also going to be very easy because Dricus has only fought 2 dudes for that title. I'm going to say his best fight was Adesanya by a mile. Even on the feet, he was hanging in there. I think he was even winning on the feet at certain points. And then goes out there, first one to submit Adesanya. Is this because this is an old up washed version of Adesanya? I don't think so. Adesanya looked good in that fight. I think this was just before he was getting out of his prime. So maybe not a prime version of Izzy, but I just think regardless of prime or not prime, DDP was always a nightmare matchup for Israel Adesanya. So I got Izzy here as the best win in DDP's whole career so far, and the worst one probably the split decision against Sean Strickland for his first title fight. Yeah, he got the belt off Strickland. I personally, as long as a lot of other people, thought that Strickland did get it done, but he did rewrite that. He did show in their rematch that DDP is just miles ahead of Strickland now, And yeah, having your first title fight being the worst one on your resume isn't that bad in my opinion. Moving down, light heavyweight, again, very, very easy to do this one because Magomed has only had one fight. It's going to be Pereira. Best and worst fight, Pereira. Easy, done like that. Let's go into Jon Jones. Now, Jon Jones are we just sticking to heavyweight though? Or should I take into consideration light heavyweight? We'll do light heavyweight as well, just because, Magomed had nothing. So we got to put some substance in here. So the best title defense that Jon Jones has ever had, I'm debating putting Daniel Cormier here in their first fight, because the second one was a no contest because he's a drug cheat. But I'm debating putting DC there just because I think DC might be the best win he has on his entire resume. I'm going to put the first fight with DC just because of legacy and because of how good DC is. So the best title defense Jon Jones does have, DC. The worst one now, probably, are we going to say Anthony Smith? It might have to be Anthony Smith. that Jon Jones had to go life and death with Anthony Smith to go to the decision. Couldn't get him out of there. You know, some honorable mentions you could have here would be someone like a Chael Sonnen. Low-key, he's not that great. We have Chael Sonnen, Ovince St. Preux. You know, you have the Santos. Reyes, looking at it now, is a decent win. Like Miocic, at the time, not that great of a win because he's old man Miocic, but I would say Anthony Smith, just because of how bad Smith's career has been since that fight, to be honest. Like, he's just been on a downhill. But let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think? Do you think, specifically for like Jon Jones, what's a better one, what's a worse one? Do you disagree with any of my takes? Thank you for watching to the end of the video, and I will see you guys in my next video.